What's up, you guys? Mr. Octagonal here from Octagonal Gaming. Now we have the Los Angeles Chargers Season 2, technically Season 3, whatever you want to call it, off-season recap. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So re-signees, we didn't bring anyone back, not even Jason Verrett, Kyle Emanuel, Neil Lee, Cardell Jones, Brett Hundley, etc. We didn't bring any of them back. Jason Verrett ended up signing with the New York Jets. So looking at free agency, I was really excited for this free agency class, but it really was not too intriguing. The only player who really intrigued me was safety Clinton Dix. But yeah, he ended up signing with the Buffalo Bills, so that kind of sucked. Frank Clark, defensive end from the Seahawks, he's a solid player, but we didn't really need an end since we got Melvin Ingram and Joey Bosa already on the squad. So looking at quarterbacks, because we only have two at the moment with Hundley and Cardell Jones, and that will change. Quarterbacks, we'll get into that in a minute. As I look at Case Keenum, he wanted too much. So the first trade of the offseason we made was with Corey Liuget. Solid defensive tackle. He's a good player, but he's pretty old, and he's on a somewhat big contract. So we ended up trading him, as well as cornerback Cortland Sutton, who was really bad for us. He made plenty of boneheaded plays, including a few roughing the kickers. We traded them to the Bears for a second-rounder and a future 6th and 7th. And then we traded Brandon Oliver and Larry Ogunjobi to Miami Dolphins for Charles Harris. This was a move to save money and get younger, as we get a very solid young player in Charles Harris, former Missouri Tiger. We already are good at end. I thought he would be good at linebacker, but he wasn't. So now I'm trying to get Cam Robinson from the Jacksonville Jaguars, good young offensive lineman, and I am looking to trade away Jahlil Addae, because at this point I assumed I was going to get Clinton Dix. And Jahlil Addae, he is 29. He is starting to regress. He's on a bit of a contract. We ended up trading him a 4th-round pick and maybe some other 4th or 5th-round pick to get Cam Robinson. And now we're trading Matt Prater away because we have Brody Body, who we drafted last year. He was on the practice squad last year. Now, Robbie Anderson is the only player who's actually on the roster who we actually signed in free agency. We also signed Dante Fowler Jr. and Trey Waynes in free agency, but we ended up trading them later in the stream, I guess. So now, I want the first pick. There's a player I really want, and I just want to be safe. The Browns have the first pick. And apparently all you need to add is Corey Toomer, and it's a Los Angeles Charger. With the first pick of the 2019 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Chargers select Mason Conway, quarterback, Michigan State. And he is an absolute beast. 80 overall. Have drafted our franchise quarterback in Mason Conway. I really wanted to get him. There was a really good left tackle available named Harvey Bridges, who ended up being an 82 overall with quick development, but I could not pass up on this great quarterback in Mason Conway. Philip Rivers is getting up there, and sorry, Peyton Mankins, you're not our future. It is Mason Conway from Michigan State. Michigan State always produces the best players. If you look at his stats, solid throw power, solid accuracy, not the most mobile, which is a bit annoying, but I think all his other stats make up for it for sure. And he has superstar development, of course. And he's an 80 overall, which is really high. But the biggest thing is definitely that superstar development. He's going to be developing into a beast. Guys, remember at the trade deadline, we traded Casey Hayward and Greg Robinson to the Niners for their first-round pick. It ended up being the 5th pick. And we need a beast receiver in the slot. So we took Rashad Pickney from Clemson. And he looks like an absolute monster. Aldrick Robinson was good last year, but he's 30. He's regressing. And we're getting younger and better in this beast in Rashad Pickney. Background on Rashad Pickney, he won the Heisman, so he was guaranteed superstar. And he had a great year for the Clemson Tigers. Almost 2,000 receiving yards and almost 1,000 rushing yards. Even though he's a receiver, he can probably play running back. He's extremely fast. And he led Clemson to the national championship, where they ended up beating Notre Dame, led by stud linebacker Kobe McKee. I think that's his name. He was drafted by the Cardinals, I believe, 7th overall. He was an 80 overall superstar development. But Rashad Pickney was an absolute beast for Clemson, despite them losing quarterback Martinez Horn halfway through the season because he wanted to focus on his master's degree. Horn was eventually drafted by the Niners in the 2nd round. And he was a 77 overall with normal development. So Mason Conway gets a new little toy here, and Rashad Pickney. The Chargers have not gotten Jason Verrett's replacement yet. Of course, Verrett left. And so what they did was they traded a 2nd-round pick and Trey Waynes, who I'm pretty sure I mentioned that they signed in free agency, to the Dolphins for the 12th pick. And the Chargers would end up taking a cornerback by the name of Jacques Stanley. And he's a 78 overall for normal development. A very solid player. Not the fastest, but 89 speed is solid. Good coverage stats. He is 6'1". He's only 22 years old. So he's going to be the number 2 corner alongside Tre'Davious White. Now in the second round, the Niners have not gotten a replacement for Corey Liuget yet, and they have plenty of second-round picks, so they ended up trading 2 of them to the San Francisco 49ers for a young beast. And Solomon Thomas, he is superstar development. He's like 23 years old. And later in the second round, they took a linebacker, Bernard Clark, from Texas Southern. He's already 24 years old, but he looks like an extremely solid player. Then the rest of the draft, it was pretty much O-line. They took Mike Moffitt, 77 quick, Michael Barber, 79 normal, and then they took Malcolm Bulger, 78 normal, and then with their last pick, they ended up taking a center by the name of Gordon Sturgeon in the 7th round from Western Michigan, and he was a 74 overall, but he ended up having superstar development. So now the Chargers have like 10 good offensive linemen, so they traded a few to the Bills for a first-round pick and a center in Dalton Freeman. They ended up cutting Dalton Freeman. As you can see, I'm trying to get it forward to the next trade, where we traded Moffitt and Dan Feeney to the Rams for some draft picks. The 3 in the original trade with the Bills was Zach Fulton, both of the guards, Malcolm Bulger and Peyton, I think it was Peyton Barber was his name. Not need Charles Harris or Dante Fowler, so they traded them to the Dolphins for Byron Maxwell and a first-round pick. And then the Chargers did end up trading Byron Maxwell. Now, as you can see, the Chargers did trade Phillip Rivers. It is now the Mason Conway era, as Phillip Rivers will be mentoring the second-year quarterback Carson Magna in Baltimore. I mean, this makes perfect sense for Baltimore because unless they want Joe Flacco mentoring him how to throw interceptions, and Phillip Rivers is probably the right move. There's a highlight from a game. So Phillip Rivers, no longer an LA Charger. I know it's sad, but we had to do it because it is the Mason Conway era. We have a final depth chart here before week 1 against the Tennessee Titans. So the starting quarterback will be Mason Conway. He's going to start right away for the Chargers. His backup is Peyton Mankins, the second-year man from Clemson. And they also signed Trayvon Boykin at running back. Still doing Melvin Gordon. He got re-signed towards the middle of the season. Pretty much the same at running back, just they don't have Brandon Oliver. So Orleans Darkwa is now the main backup receiver. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams still have that 1 and 2 spot. Of course, the Chargers did add Rashad Pickney, so he's going to be the slot receiver. Looking at the O-line, Cam Robinson will be playing left tackle. It just has Forrest Lamp there. Forrest Lamp will be playing right tackle. And inside, Grayson Worthington will be playing left guard just like last year. At center, it'll be the rookie, I don't really know how to say his name yet, for Western Michigan. The 74 overall superstar development in the 7th round, Gordon something. And at right guard, it's going to be Miles Ellerbe, another Clemson player. We've drafted a bunch of Clemson players. Mankins, Ellerbe, Rashad Pickney. But anyway, Miles Ellerbe will be playing at right guard. And then tight end, exactly the same from last year, Hunter Henry, Jeremy Sprinkle, and Levine Toilolo. Defense is not as changed as the offense. Only 3 of the 11 starters on the defense were not on the team last year. And only 4 of these 11 guys were not starters last year. As Marcus Williams, he was on the team last year, but he didn't start. Anyway, looking at the defensive line, the defensive end, exactly the same. Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram. Defensive tackle, Rashard Street, second-year man from Alabama. He's back. And now Solomon Thomas, who they got for 2 second-round picks. He's going to be inside. The linebackers, Leonard Worrell, now in his second year. I feel like he's gotten no spotlight now with like Conley and Pickney and all them. But Leonard Worrell, he's now at 87 overall. He's going to still be the middle linebacker. At left outside linebacker, it'll be Jatavis Brown. And at right outside linebacker, it'll be the rookie Bernard Clark. And then in the secondary, Tre'Davious White, he's back. He's going to be the number 1 corner. The number 2 corner will be Jacques Fassett, who was the first-round pick from UCLA. And the safeties, Trey Boston, a free safety, no different. And then it's strong safety, Marcus Williams. He's been a backup his first 2 years, but now he's starting now that Adaye is not on the team, and they couldn't re-sign Clinton Dix. So hope you guys enjoyed. Next episode will be on Thursday. Don't know if I'm uploading this Tuesday or Wednesday, but it'll be on Thursday, Thanksgiving, opening game against the Tennessee Titans. Hope you guys are ready. Mason Conway's debut. It's going to be lit. I'm out. Peace.
Yo, hey, man! Come on!